correspondence screen to discuss various personnel matters. Next after this, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Argent, Chief Luger, to do some police department meritorious service awards. Federal diversion. Wow.
Officer Schmidt. Given this date, June 17th, 2024, Officer Malachi Schmidt is hereby awarded the Honorable Service Award for his actions on April 14th, 2024. Members of the Muhlenberg Township Police Department were called to assist the Laureldale Borough Police Department in the 1400 block of Fresh Valley Road with an unwanted subject. After multiple attempts were made to locate the suspect, they were unable to do so and units cleared. Within minutes, units were called back to the same location. Officer Schmoyer from Laureldale Borough arrived first in the area and immediately engaged the suspect in a foot pursuit. During the foot pursuit, Officer Schmoyer fired his duty weapon after the suspect displayed a firearm. Initial accounts were that Officer Schmoyer struck the suspect in the head. One of the officers that responded from Muhlenberg Township to the scene was Officer Malachi Schmidt. Upon arriving on location, Officer Schmidt immediately took the initiative and took charge of the scene, coordinated and supervised efforts between the responding personnel. Once the scene was secured, Officer Schmidt took control of Officer Schmoyer and escorted back to our office. There is no doubt that the professionalism, decisions, and decisive actions that Officer Schmidt took during this incident helped keep a very chaotic situation under control and instill poise and assurance in all the officers involved. Several of the officers involved were impressed in Officer Schmidt's abilities to take charge of the situation, bringing calm and order. Officer Schmidt's actions greatly reflect upon himself, the Muhlenberg Township Police Department, and the law enforcement profession as a whole. Officer Schmidt is hereby awarded the Honorable Service Award. Officer Walters.
Smile, please.
The Life Saving Award is given this date, June 17th, 2024, to Officer Jason Walters for his actions on November 6th, 2023. Members of the Muhlenberg Township Police Department were called for a suspicious situation on Stouts Ferry Bridge Road overpass over 222. A subject was reported to be standing on the bridge with a lariat or a device tied around her neck and the other end to the bridge railing. The complainant who had called was a passerby, and he had stopped to check on the status of the female. Several officers of the Muhlenberg Township Police Department responded to the scene. Once Officer Walters arrived, he kept a distance so he didn't seem threatening and began to develop a rapport with the female. The female was under the influence of alcohol and told Officer Walters that life had been tough and she wanted to end her life. After a lengthy conversation, the female appeared to be cooperating. When Officer Walters approached closer, the female turned to the outer railing as to jump. However, Officer Walters was able to grab her and gain control. There is no doubt that had she been able to jump, the fall and or the lariat around her neck would have ended her life. Once the female was secured, she was transported to a local hospital. Officer Walters' ability to take charge of the situation and build a rapport with the female certainly saved her life. Officer Walters' actions greatly reflect upon himself, the Muhlenberg Township Police Department, and the law enforcement profession. Officer Walters, you are hereby rewarded with the life saving.
If I may, real quick, I despise everyone that I work with. There are no other people I would rather do it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, officers, for your heroic work. All right, now we'll move on on to the first public portion. Time for taxpayers and residents to comment on matters of concern, official actions or deliberations which may be before the Board of Commissioners. We please ask you to keep your comments to 5 minutes, and you direct your questions and comments to the Board of Commissioners. First one is Charles Shaw. Chuck?
Sure, so 318 Elmer Circle in Reed Farms. My question regards to North Fifth Street and Water Street. If it's possible that we get some left turn lane there, light there, because the people on southbound Fifth Street and Water Street continue, it backs up and they continue to go through the green light, the yellow light, the red light sometimes. And it's very difficult at times to go from northbound Fifth Street or Water Street to a left turn onto the Water Street to head over to Route 61.
We have to do a traffic impact study or is that?
About 4 years ago, the township tried to do just that exact same thing. PennDOT denied the application. When the Newman Development Group purchased or put under contract the Manderbach property and was proposing the developments that they have proposed, we asked them to try and go back to PennDOT and ask for that exact same thing again. PennDOT agreed this time. So that is in the works. When the land development plan is under construction, the North Fifth Street Highway onto Water Street will get a left turn arrow.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. All right, I have, I don't know if you want to speak individually, I have several folks to sign in under the, for the dog park, Marcia Dornes, I think it's.
Doors.
Dornes. 1410 Frederick Boulevard.
Yes, I'm a resident of Muhlenberg for 32 years and I went to the dog park the day it opened, October 25th, 2015. I've had several dogs I take there. I'm a tax-paying citizen, no problems, anything. I go to the dog park, take my dog every morning, and now I find out you're locking one of the dog parks, the Parks and Recreation Department. I've contacted them and they said they've had problems with vicious dogs. And doesn't address the whole situation. You have the dogs, but you also have people that have situations of their own that need to be in that individual third park with their dog because of their health problems and their issues. And I am just wondering why all of a sudden it is being locked, because you take your dog for years, you have a routine, I have a routine, and it's healthy for both of us. And I understand you have to close it when you're doing maintenance or grass cutting, but from what was being told and said, they're just plain shutting it. That is ridiculous to let a beautiful park sit there vacant, and it is sad. It's very sad.
Well, I'm sorry, Ms. Smith, but I'll have to disagree with you because we've been closed since 2015 and I've been very involved in the dog park. We've always closed a section of it to make sure we could rehabilitate the grass and keep it professional, so that it just started to occur. It's not an accurate statement.
No, I know for grass growing, that you do every,
But you just said we just started doing it, so just so the
No.
record's clear. we just
oh, okay,
started.
yes, for grass cutting, it has been closed for a month. Every May usually, one of them, or they'll close it for mowing the lawn or to fix the fence.
But we've been doing it since it opened to make sure that we can maintain the 3 bays for the dog park. So just to be clear on that. Jim, I don't know if you have anything else.
No, that's a correct statement, yeah.
But it hasn't been shut just to be shut. Only when maintenance has been done.
Well, I don't think we shut it just to be shut. We
Now
shut
it's locked.
it.
Right, when we opened the dog park initially, what was intended to happen was a small dog park and a large dog park. And the third section was to be closed for restoration. And that's the way the dog park operated for many years until we don't know, 4 to 5 years ago, when it was no longer operating that way, maybe even less, maybe through COVID. I know it was locked, it was closed completely through COVID, and maybe when they opened it back up as precautionary measures to allow people to have as much space as possible, they opened it, left it open. We don't know. That was not township directive to have all three sections open at the same time.
That's not my recollection, that it's been open.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking into it because we've received several stuff, but the history of the dog park was the only reason we were locking it was because we wanted to ensure that we kept the large and small dogs in separate areas. And that if, unfortunately, if someone has a health problem and can't go, then that's the individual's decision, not the township. So we're looking with the Parks and Rec Board on any future recommendations who we work with our recreation
Okay,
services.
to have the third one sit there vacant,
With the problems, we don't want one of them to get ruined, so we can't use it ever again. So I agree, we might have to agree to disagree. But that's, we want to ensure that we can at least keep two of them open for the large and small dogs. That was the original design of the dog park that we built with Park and Rec money, not taxpayer money, by the way. So that was the original intent, so we could keep it long term and not just have one of the areas go completely dirt and we couldn't be able to use it. So we'll look into that with the Park
Okay.
Board to see that, but that's the way it was designed in 2015.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next is Kevin Thomas, 1427 Perkiomen.
Yeah, thank you. I'm part of the group that's here about the dog park in Jim Dietrich. So the issue that you're talking about, lawn maintenance, that's not the reason that was cited to all of us, the group that's here today, and why that section on the far left is closed. The reason given is that supposedly there's vicious dogs on the far left, and they can jump over the fence and get to the dogs that are in the other two sections and kill them. So if it's closed for maintenance, that's one thing, we're all familiar with that. But if it's closed for the reason stated by Parks and Recreation to prevent vicious dogs from jumping the fence and coming and killing the other dogs, it doesn't make sense because the vicious dogs can just, the owner can easily bring his vicious dog into the two sections that are open. So what sense does that make? So yes, we'd like to see that section on the far left.
Are you a Muhlenberg resident?
Ready?
Resident, okay. Well, the meeting's for Muhlenberg Township, taxpayers or business owners. So we would like to move on to
Thanks for letting me speak.
next person, Amy Moyer.
Yeah, I just have, I guess I have to stand up there. I just have, documentation of all the people that have been affected by the third area closed. I think it comes out to close to 40 people. I was going to make it all nice and pretty for everybody, but I thought it was actually more authentic to see everybody's own handwriting. So if anybody would like to look at it, I'll tear these pages out, but I understand trying to keep an area nice. But like when that area is locked, shouldn't that be the time that the renovation is done on that area? While it is locked, because the third area is under lock. And it needs a ton of gravel removed that's washed down in from the flood from last year. Okay, the grass can't come up through the gravel, so the gravel needs removed and it needs to be seeded. It's just sitting there, not even being renovated. So if you want to keep an area nice, you have to fix the closed area while it's closed and then move your dogs to that area and then renovate the new area that's locked. I've been going for steady daily for 4 years. And it was only ever locked for seeding in the springtime, and that was not even every springtime. So most of the people on these lists here don't really care if there's a few bald spots on the grass.
Well, we do. We invest into it, and we have 180 some acres of parkland to maintain. So I understand this is an added benefit we offer to the Muhlenberg Township community.
Yeah.
And those visitors, but we have to prioritize also what we think is best. And I'm gonna take the recommendation, me personally, any board member would be happy to speak, of our township manager, who was, what's your degree in, Jim?
Parks and Recreation Management.
So we're gonna follow basically to keep the long-term essence of the dog park. So I think right now we'll reevaluate it, sounds like.
Do you have a copy of the policy that when it initially opened, that it would stay? Cause there's people that went to the inauguration and they are saying that when they were there, that nothing was said, mentioned about that
Well, no, we
aspect.
wouldn't have read
So-
standard operating procedures or
Do you have
policies.
that with
Ribbon
you?
cutting.
You have
No,
that?
It isn't a written policy.
Okay, you don't, oh, it's not a written
No, it's
policy?
a turf management policy.
Oh, okay, you have the turf management policy.
Sure. Yeah.
That was made, we
Okay,
discussed that when we opened.
yeah, because
It was discussed.
it's
and not to cut
1/3
you off, We
it's
did discuss
1/3.
that, and we understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
The idea was to have one section of the park open for small dogs,
yeah,
one section of the park open for large dogs,
yeah,
and one section of the park closed for turf management. And
which
whatever
means
that,
improvements
whatever that,
should being made at that time on that area.
whatever that
Okay.
meant to
Because there is
restore
a
that turf.
lot
And sometimes,
busted
even though you
fence.
don't see people in there, doesn't mean
Yeah.
that that land's not recovering from the dogs. And as far as the animals that are in there,
Mhm.
nobody ever opened that, it was not policy to open that for vicious dogs. First of all, vicious dogs shouldn't be in the park. in the
Exactly,
first
you're
place.
exactly correct. They should not be there.
It-
And they're not. That's the
and,
problem.
you know, open and close the park for people with health issues. If you have an issue and you can't be around other people, then perhaps being in a setting where other people are there is not the place to be. And I think the idea is that for now, we're going to revert to the policy that was initially set. And unless there are any other recommendations
Well, there's a lot of
from the
Okay.
park board.
the people of Muhlenberg Township, which I'm a resident for 25 years. They're getting older in age. We all are. The population is getting older. Okay? Some people have inherited larger dogs, not through their own, not because they decided, I want a bull mastiff at the age of 80 years old. No, they end up with a child that goes to college and leaves it with them, or adopting, like Marcia adopted a dog, Remy, that is a little reactive. He weighs 40 pounds. She just doesn't wanna have to break up a dog fight. Because when you're an older person and you're trying to break up a dog fight. And you break a hip, do you know what that means for somebody who's 80 years
Well,
old
if
that
you're
breaks
going
a
to
hip?
get a dog fight, Ms. Gill, we can debate this, and they should be going to the dog park.
Those people don't have right to enjoy a public facility like that, is what you're saying.
You're not to be, if you believe that.
It's almost like an ADA, it's almost like an Americans with Disability Act.
It's really not. And
I beg to differ, I mean, I
And
think that it could be
you know,
looked,
this
it could
is
be
a
looked
conscious
into.
Decision that if you know that you are not physically capable of doing certain things, then perhaps that setting is not the setting to be in. It's a personal decision. Dogs, even if they're off leash, they still need to be under control of the owner. The owner needs to be able to go out and take care of that animal and
Right,
then pull them back if there's an issue. And if they're incapable of doing that, then they should not be in the dog park.
I mean, you do realize how many people
So.
go get hurt at the dog park. And go by ambulance from the dog park. Does anybody follow any of that?
I'm not aware that I've ever seen that, but I think we've established what the policy.
There's pictures on
is going
Facebook with a
forward.
young boy with his leg ripped open. Okay,
But I
because
believe-
people they bring in their dogs thinking that their dogs are gonna be okay. Nobody comes to the park saying, oh, I'm gonna bring my vicious dog in here and just let him rip up
I've
everybody.
been a dog owner my whole life, and my last golden retriever never been a person in his life, but if I would have taken him to that dog park, he would have got angry. So I made a decision not to take.
Right, and there's always
There you go.
that, exactly, there's that first time though, there's always that first time.
Thank you.
You know what I mean, like, people don't bring the dog thinking that it's gonna act out.
As you said, Ms. Moore,
You know.
I'm gonna talk to our Parks and Rec board, if there's any further recommendations based on some of the feedback we've got. And we'll be happy to take some of their recommendations along with our township manager and our Parks and Rec superintendent. And we'll move forward from there, so.
So is anybody interested in, the emails that they received or anything,
If
or?
you'd like to forward them to our Parks Department and you'll share them with the Parks and Rec board, we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can make copies, or I can have copies sent to you, but
The residents should
it took me hours to, and you know how I got this information? By sitting at the park in the big area with my non-vicious 2 dogs, watching all the people pull up to the 3rd area and being upset that they couldn't go in. Okay, from young girls with little peekapoos that they just adopted and didn't want to go in with strange dogs. They wanted the dog to be able to acclimate through the fence a little bit. You know, we don't care about the grass looking like Pebble Beach Golf Course. We really don't.
But you should expect that for
Yeah.
extended periods of time every year, one dog park will be closed.
Exactly.
On a rotation.
And
So
you see
nobody's
how,
saying- I think there is a happy medium here.
yeah,
Nobody's
I
saying-
think there is too.
Nobody's saying that it's gonna be closed permanently.
I think there should be, because
But
you see how the
residents-
grass took off.
But even if the third one's open,
Yeah,
right, and the first one's open, that means the second one's closed. So then people are still gonna complain that I go to the second one every
if they
day.
see things being done, they understand. Okay, they do. The first area that got seeded a few
You're
weeks
not-
ago,
You're not wrong.
have you seen it? Drive over there tonight and see what the condition of the grass is that they wasted their money trying to fix.
But that's the other issue, you might need to keep it closed for 6 months, a year, for it to actually revitalize and.
Why do they worry so much about the grass when they won't do anything about a poisonous black walnut tree
These,
that's there?
we're branching out on a lot of different things.
Yeah, well, I just wanna know how I can tell, but I should tell all these people, I think it's close to 40 people.
Tell them
How
that they
the
should
township
expect that one
feels.
dog park will be closed for extended periods of time on a rotating basis, as it has been for many years.
No, that's not true. That is
Okay,
a,
whether it's a month or-
that is a downright lie. I've been going daily. I mean, daily.
Don't actually go there. We all understand you attend a dog park.
Yeah.
We hear a lot.
Yeah,
On both sides of the house, so right over time right now, you can bring it up to the Parks and Rec Board and go through the same debate as Commissioner Shirley said. Our policy is to make sure that we have a nice professional looking dog park where the grass continues to grow. In case one day the Board of Commissioners says close it.
yeah.
I was a big proponent of pushing to get it done. Poor Karen might yell at me a couple times for it. I love the dog park. I was involved in its inception, its idea from the very beginning. But if we're gonna continue not to get along and follow certain rules.
Well, you know what, I don't like being threatened by stuff
not-
like that,
being
you know,
honest
like you
with you.
can say you're gonna shut it,
I didn't say,
Then just
I'm
shut it,
not,
you
I'm
know?
not saying that at
you
all.
know.
I'm saying we have
If
to
you wanna
make this
beautify it, do something about that gravel lot, that's the first place.
That's a good point.
The stones are all washing down into the 3rd area constantly. Yeah, I think my time is up, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next, I think it's Michelle.
Well, I'm not a Muhlenberg Township resident now, so I don't know if you want me to speak over.
Actually, this time is really reserved for folks that.
I know I was, that's fine.
Yeah, so, thank you. Any further questions or comments? All right. Moving on, I need a motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those of any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to approve payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service.
Move.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those of any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to award contract fee of the 2024 road paving project to CMS LLC for work on the Sweeple River Trail project in the amount of $127,350.
Move.
Any questions or comments?
This is,
Go ahead.
I would just make a, both these and the next one, this is all grant money, it's not tax money that's coming from Muhlenberg. This is all the grants.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those of any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to award contract C of the 2024 road paving project to the H&K Group for work on the Riverside Basin Trail project in the amount of $116,850.80.
All that.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those of any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to award the recreation building and roof replacement project to EA Roofing Company in the amount of $74,420.
Same motion.
Move. Second.
Any questions or comments?
I'll just point out the fact that the rec building roof is in really poor shape. And annual rents that we receive are in excess of $50,000 a year. So I think this is a good investment.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion authorizing citizen manager to replace 10 computers for admin and police staff in the amount of $16,000.
Moved.
Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion authorizing Parks Director to construct pickleball courts on the old basketball courts at 401 Darby Avenue.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Jim, we're still looking at the wall run.
Laurel Run is still in process. We're still working through engineering, because the Laurel Run Park, the majority of it is in the floodplain. So we're waiting for permit approval from, DEP.
How many pickleball courts we have to do?
4. Well, 4 at Laurel Run. We think we can fit 2 or 3 at 401 Darby Ave. 2 or 3 at Darby Ave, and it's really, all that we're doing there is buying the nets and the poles. We can put them up in-house, and some line painting. It's going to be very nice.
Very good.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Before we do the next motion, Commissioner Lurch, because I think we're gonna have some difference of opinion. We'd like to talk a little bit about the Pets at River Fest of 2024.
Sure. So this is a follow-up conversation to the conversation we had last month. We received a number of complaints from attendees at the River Fest about the growing number, specifically of dogs, at the event. We've also had issues, that have required the police to request people to leave the event because dogs have been attacking each other. We had an issue last year where a child was bitten in the face by a dog. So after some discussion, this is really a preventative measure, because as the event grows in popularity, we have more and more people coming. The trail is fairly narrow at certain points, and we do have periods throughout the event where we have wall-to-wall people. I mean, they are shoulder to shoulder, and it becomes difficult to navigate through the trail. For the people who bring pets, this is not an anti-dog statement. What we're trying to do is keep the public safe and prevent issues. We don't want to come across as pet unfriendly, but, sometimes you cannot navigate the trail due to the number of dogs that are trying to greet each other and people that are talking and a tangle of leashes. So, the recommendation from the Parks Board, the recommendation from the police is to just simply keep the animals from attending the event. I did look into this, with our solicitor, because we talked specifically about service animals. So the way the resolution is written, we are not banning service animals. If people need to have service animals, they are more than welcome to come. But, in the interest of public safety, we're trying to prevent an animal from getting hurt or a person from getting hurt. And, that's the reasoning behind the resolution. When animals are taken there, it's one thing if you're there with your pet and you're walking your pet down a trail and there's not a lot of other people there. But when you have as many as 5,000 people at a time and 20,000 people total at the event, the animals are introduced into an area that, they're not familiar with. And they can become disoriented, they can become agitated, and they become aggressive. So, this has been bannered about for a couple of years. And knowing that the event is growing in popularity, I think it's time to be able to take the action to prevent a major incident or somebody from getting seriously injured, while we're trying to promote people to come into Muhlenberg and enjoy themselves at our premier festival.
I got a question. Sure, we have other festivals and don't see nothing goes wrong, nobody complaining about it, like taco festival, I was over, like, say, maybe 25% of people there have the pets there. The pets were good and you didn't see nothing going on there. I was there before the 8:30, I see it going on. So he taken down over the music fest, and I understand that little trail goes down, I can see that little trail, maybe do some like, but not out there, people come and bring their picnic stuff, sit there and eat and drink, bring stuff in, put a blanket down. And then say no alcohol's allowed to be there, who's gonna be policing all that kind of stuff? We have this other stuff that should be policing, now you have to police the dogs in too. I mean, there's more stuff on top of the police and doing that, and get artists to just go bring their dog and say, hey, I want to bring my dog there, they'll say, no, you can't bring it, and we'll have a big fuss going on there. And Muhlenberg's would be, you look on their website, Muhlenberg's would be friendly, pet friendly and that stuff. Now, what we gonna put there, we have all this festival coming up, we got a festival coming up in July over there, we're gonna bring stuff there, birds are gonna stop. Now, I think. You look, just like I said, look at the website, that what in 2017, had a dog, or walk with dogs over there. And that was a nice thing and that good advertising, and I understand what you're saying about that, maybe that little walkway down there, you could do something, but not the whole park for that music fest.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Hoffmaster. I mean, I did take into consideration, there was discussion about the other events that we had. Like our Spring Fiesta does not draw the same number of attendees as the Riverfest does. Our summer concert series does not draw the same number of attendees as the Riverfest does. So rather than make this requesting a blanket ban on pets at all events, I specifically looked at the number of attendees at this particular event. And regarding the area that pets are off limits, it is specifically the area of the Riverfest. If someone is looking to come into the park and be somewhere else in the park, that is okay. But we are specifically looking at the area around the farmhouse, down the trail, where the food vendors are, in the field where people congregate to listen to the main stage, and the area just past where the acoustic stage is. So we're not banning people from bringing pets into other areas within the park, just the specific area where the festival is taking place.
Commissioner, I pointing out the difference between Spring Fiesta and Riverfest. Riverfest, you have the walkway going along the river, which gets very, very crowded. And shoulder to shoulder sometimes in the evening. And I brought up the argument of no dogs last year for that reason. We had a dog bite. My concern this time around is it's too late. Is there somebody from Lancaster that's going to bring the dog up, thinking that I've always brought my dog to Riverfest, and then they're going to be turning around. That's my only concern here. I don't think, I know dogs become part of your family. I've always owned a dog. Well, my Chesterfield just died a few years ago, no replacement. But there's so many people sitting in front of the farmhouse, listening to the bands, going down along the river and the trails. There's some kids that are afraid of dogs. So we're thinking of those kids, we're just talking about one event. And we had talked about 20,000 people. And that's why I would be voting for the restriction of the dogs. My only concern here, Karen, will be getting the advertisement out that people know about the ring.
Yeah, and I thought about that too, and I know that if this is voted in the affirmative, then I mean, as soon as tomorrow, we can have information put up on the township website. I'm sure that word of mouth will get around, we can put it on our board right away. I know that as we get closer to the event, Karen does interviews with local radio stations, television stations. So it's not that the word will not get out. And as soon as something happens, if we take a vote tonight and it passes, this will probably appear all over social media. It will probably be on social media faster than we can get the word out. So if somebody shows up and says that they were unaware that there was a pet ban, I would give them the benefit of the doubt, but I would think that it's probably unlikely.
Well, I'm sorry, Commissioner, just so, I'll be voting against the resolution, just so we're clear as why, and there's several reasons. The next public portion you'll be able to speak now, okay? First, I think we've had successful events, we've had really one incident, and once again, I think we're legislating human behavior a little bit that you can't do, and I definitely think it's gonna cause us more problems than not, but we've had very, very limited, when you talk percentage wise, over the course of since we started Riverfest. And I would hope, I think we could turn the pet police away, which could cause a whole gamut, because the majority, I believe, of the pet owners were responsible, except for this one situation. Do I agree? Maybe we limit them from going down the walkway at the park, and we say you can't go down that way because it's too crowded where the vendors are. Maybe I could agree with cutting them off there, but not allowing them to come into the event at all, like on a Sunday morning at 11, would seem overly restrictive of something where we haven't had historic problems because of one terrible incident that happened. So that's the reason why I'm going to be voting against the motion if it does get seconded. So I just wanted to be clear as why I'd be doing that. So Commissioner Cerulli.
Yeah, I'm also against this resolution. I can see if it was revised, but to say farmhouse, main stage, pavilion one. To Commissioner Malinowski's point, you know, when it's not prime business down there. To say no pets at all at the festival, I just can't get on board with that. I can see if this was revised to say maybe the trail during certain hours, I could get on board with that, but the way that it's written, is gonna have to be a no for me as well.
Well, I consider it a time limit too, but I think the problem with the time limit, instead of just outright from beginning to end. You know, now we're setting up an issue where somebody's come in, it's Sunday morning, and now they're walking, now they're there. And now it gets full. And I don't wanna be the commissioner to have to go up to somebody and say, I'm really sorry that your husband, wife, child, son, daughter, nephew, whatever, was bitten by a dog. Yeah, I don't wanna be the one to say that. I'm trying to be preventative here, and it's not just that, I've seen the animals go after each other. I try to navigate the trail, you know, and, you know, with the service dog, allowance, you know, what we're asking is non-retractable leashes of no longer than 6 feet. I mean, if you've been to Riverfest, you've seen somebody standing here and they have a dog out to where the microphone is. It just is very difficult to get around. So to do it piecemeal, I think is harder to enforce than say outright. I've also gone in on Sunday morning, early to help pick up trash. And I end up cleaning up dog droppings from somebody the night before. And everybody's a wonderful dog owner, everybody picks up after their dog is always under control. But you put a dog in a situation like that, and you just don't know how they're gonna behave. They could be the best behaved dog in the world, they could be a police trained dog. And I've seen them in action, and, you know, they don't always respond to commands, depending on what, you know, their input is. So that's why I looked at that total package, so.
How are we policing the service dogs? Cause I can go on Amazon and get a service dog. Foul leash harness.
You are allowed to ask 2 questions, according to federal ADA solicitor, if I'm.
Yep,
Here.
correct.
I do remember the one specific question that you may ask is, I believe the 2 are related to tasks. You can ask an owner what the dog is specifically trained to do. And if the owner said, well, their emotional support, what are they specifically trained to do? If the pet owner cannot answer that question, then the dog is not certified as a service dog. The other question I can.
Yeah, you're not allowed to specifically ask for documentation,
Right.
So. Yeah, could someone lie and say this is the task that they do? Sure, because you're not allowed to actually ask for documentation related to the service animal.
I just think at some point, you know, you're gonna have to police it, whether it's a full ban and people still come with their dogs. You still have to police that for a given period of time. Or you police it at a smaller period of time, you know, dictated by the resolution, if it was more direct. 4 PM to 10 PM Friday, and
I think you would have more issue with the public, somebody saying, oh, I didn't know, oh, that time, I wasn't aware of that time, and I think it's harder on the officers also. You know, what time are we not supposed to do this, it's just. No.
I have to agree with what Mike was saying too, how that, that's for the other stuff, you don't have that, you never have problems really. You have a little bit of problem, anywhere you have it, you have to be happy with what went on down there all the time, no kind of problem. Now you're saying like, we had a problem, we didn't have something that went wrong there. Right?
And I agree, we have not, we've been very, very fortunate, I'm just trying to be proactive here instead of reactive. Because I don't wanna sit here next year and say, wow, we ended up with a major incident and now we need to take action. I would rather take the action up front and, yeah. But I, for Mr. President, I think everybody's spoken, I think it's time for sure vote. Anyway, I make the motion, I didn't even we had a second, I make the motion.
I'll second.
Any further questions or comments? I think everyone spoke. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Wolfinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Lurch.
Yes.
I am a no. Commissioner Hofmeister,
I'm gonna go.
Commissioner Cerulli.
no,
Okay, the motion dies and we'll move on to item H. I need a motion to authorize the fire chief to apply for grant funding through the ARLE and the Green Line Go programs.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Chief, just a quick high level.
Sure, there's about 8 or 9 traffic intersections with traffic lights that do not have preemption. Preemption is equipped on our emergency vehicles to give us priority through the intersection, box down all the other intersections to red. Safer for us, it's safer for the public, so we can get the rest of the intersections in the township on board with preemption, just from a safety perspective.
Thank you, Chief. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the township manager to work with the property owners on Riverdale Road to establish a stormwater easement for existing stormwater facilities.
Could you explain that?
Sure can. There's a couple of properties in the, I'm gonna draw a blank on the name of the subdivision now at this point, but around Lady Diana and Rivervale that have stormwater utilities that are existing on the property, and no easements were ever recorded. The subdivision plan did not include recorded easements for the stormwater utilities. The issue specifically is one neighbor, was supposed to have a catch basin installed on the property line. It was not installed on the property line. It's on the neighboring properties, the neighboring property owner's property. And so they're trying to work through the stormwater process, be able to move water to that catch basin, but the neighbor aside of them is unwilling to cooperate.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the solicitor to advertise an ordinance to limit parking on portions of Euclid Avenue.
Should we talk about this?
Sure. Someone make the motion first.
I'll make the motion.
So I'll second it. And go ahead, Commissioner Shirley, questions, comments?
Yeah, so when I read through the emails and the documentation, what's the extent? Is it just a couple houses? Is it that whole 500 block of Euclid?
I would say the property in question is Cobra Anchors. The issue is that the trucks that need to back into the loading docks there have trouble doing so when there are vehicles parked on the street. Most, if not all of those properties have a driveway, but the cars don't always end up in the driveway. So it would be the extent of the area in front of the loading docks.
So about half the block, the middle section of that block.
Yep.
And it's right, it's a case, they don't have no driveway, they can park on their lot over there, right?
The Cobra Anchors offered that is correct.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further questions or comments?
I mean, we've worked with Cobra before. I mean, we sat here, I don't know if it was last year, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. I remember residents coming in and, you know, Cobra went and tried to limit the length of the trucks coming in, the times of deliveries. I mean, Cobra has been very reactive to what we've asked, and I think they've gone more than their fair share to allow people to park in their lots. I've really been flip-flopping back and forth on this one quite a bit. I mean, residents have a right to park in front of their house. But, you know, the understanding here is the resident is being obnoxious is not the right word, but, just unwilling to work, you know, with the corporate or the Cobra. You know, it's just, it's a tough decision to be able to say. I mean, we're trying to be business friendly here also. And I, you know, I like the fact that Cobra has come and offered solutions, you know, to just be unwilling to cooperate even just a little bit. You know, kind of goes against my grain a little bit.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Any other new business plan on the board? Seeing none, we'll have some board appointments stuff to take care of. A motion to accept the resignations of Jim Kelly and Andrew Eaton from the Parks Board.
Motion.
Regretfully, I'll second that.
Any questions or comments other than thanking them for their service? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to appoint Ronald Haas Senior as the school district representative to the Parks Board.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Second public portion, young lady, you got your hand up in the back. Come on up again.
You know me, I am a dog lover, but I go to Riverfest. I agree, if you could rewrite the motion. Dogs have to stop at the trail, let them sit in the grass part. And because I love dogs, but I am scared sometimes of the safety through that crowd when you get your food. I think it'd be good to rewrite the motion, have dogs not allowed beyond this point on both ends of the gravel area and free in the grass.
Thank you, I think several of us would be, amenable to having a little bit of it narrowed down to a point, because it's just gonna be too hard, I believe, the police overall, the entire time, so we can go through it, but I think there's some fine tuning to it.
Yeah.
To make it safe for everybody, and including to have the dog owners, responsible dog owners there at the appropriate time. So thank you. Any other comments in the public portion? All right, seeing none. Staff, Mr. Dunkel.
Yeah, just remember to keep room in those yards and check the local codes office regarding permit requirements at your residence. Thank you. Joseph.
Just like to remind everybody about Go to Muhlenberg, our official app. So if you see high grass or property not maintained, then Mr. Dunkel's team can take care of that. That's the most efficient and quickest way to get the ball rolling.
Jeremy.
The road project is in full effect. All the mills have been milled. We did finish 2 of them today and are extremely under on both of them. So I expect us to be way under on this project. So I'm going to say about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Done.
Thank you. Jeremy. Don't.
No.
No comment. Not your budget yet, so no.
I'll wait till I see it.
Alex.
Just briefly, I'll touch activity for May 2024, 94 calls for service, 494 for the year.
Just so everybody knows, we are working on extending that area of the boardroom to have our fire chief join us up here at the table, so you get out of the kids' table. We are working on that project. Chief Hoover.
Last week we had our oral boards for
scheduled 21 candidates. One did not show and 4 failed, so we're down to 16.
Thank you. Karen.
So we had Spring Fiesta on June 10th, very nice day, nicely attended. We had no problems at all that I'm aware of. So, at this point, we're on to summer concert series. Unfortunately, Friday, the rain, as the skies opened up at a very inopportune time, so we had to cancel that one last minute. We were really trying to get it in, but, we have 3 more scheduled, and we have the 4th one, to be rescheduled. Working on that as well as for Fest.
Thank you. And Mr. Bowler.
The planning commission meeting for this month has been canceled. There are no new business items and there is no old business to discuss with the planning commission. So we will not be meeting on Wednesday.
Thank you. Who's first? Commissioner Lurch, here.
The 2 quick things. First, I think it's right and proper to recognize our police officers for their efforts. As with all of our first responders on any given day, you don't know what your shift is going to bring. And I think, in our culture right now, police tend to get a bad rap. But there are so many good things that happen. And our officers would be the first to tell you that they don't need commendations, that they are just simply doing their job. But when your job saves lives, and you need to take action and make a decision at a moment's notice, critical reaction time, then it is right to recognize those actions. And again, that goes for all our first responders, because they put their lives on the line for all of us. So, though, they are very meek about it, I'm glad that we're able to do that. And Chief, thank you for doing that and recognizing them in public. The second thing I'm going to say is, tonight you see your government at work. And unlike some of our fellow communities, who have some very dysfunctional local government, I will not be going home and disparaging my 3 fellow commissioners here for not agreeing with me. I think in Muhlenberg for the longest time, we have been able to agree to disagree on certain things, and we walk out of the room and, we'll still be talking to each other, and you will not see me bashing them in the news or on social media. But there's a spirit of cooperation, and I wish all our levels of government would look at that. So we'll take that resolution back, and, if we need to make some tweaks, perhaps we can do that, and, still, meet, all the expectations of our residents and guests. So, thank you for coming to tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yeah, just want to thank you for bringing that resolution up, and we won't be following that. You're 100% right. We have worked together. That's how Muhlenberg stays good and everything. Appreciate it. And the first responder, please, thank you for a great job over there for Spring Fest. So Mark, I did a good job. You had an ambulance there, thank you for being in an ambulance and fire department. Like Mr. Lord said, we have to be happy with our first responder people in Muhlenberg Township. And me and Dylan, the chief, were at the school board meeting last Wednesday. We got a tax break for any volunteers. You be a volunteer, run for Muhlenberg. I don't know how many calls chief writes something up, get a $500 break in your tax starting next year. The school board passed it, start being on taxes. I think you said 10 people so far in Muhlenberg front, right? And there's township will be bringing up in October on the budget that we'll be doing next year for the township. We get it passed through here, but we're gonna wait till October, the budget comes up for the township.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Walker.
This is the time of year that people start knocking on your door. And they want to kill the bugs around your house, or put a new roof or windows, or they want to redo cut your driveway. And every one of those people should have a soliciting badge that they get from the police. And if they don't have that, you say, excuse me, where's your badge? And usually when I say that, the person will say, it's in my car. Where's your car? Oh, down the street. I take a picture of them, sometimes I send it to the police. One time I chased a guy down the street because I ran the other way. But, why do we do this? Because, you know, some people, while they're talking to you in the front, someone's in the back, going in the back of the house and they're stealing, and there's, you know, it's for your security. And that's why years ago, this board, passed an ordinance, do not solicit. So you have a do not solicit list that you can get online, put your name on that do not solicit list. And whenever a person goes to the township to get a permit to go door to door, they're handed a list of people that they don't want knocking on their door. And we also give you a little sticker you can put on your door saying do not solicit. So, watch yourself out there because they're gonna be kind of knocking, and some of them are very obnoxious. They don't take no for an answer. So, Commissioner Hoffmaster and I are on the board at Muhlenberg Township Authority. We meet every month in this building. July 4 is the first Thursday after the first Monday. That's when we usually meet. We're not gonna meet because it's July 4, it's July 11th. And if you want to come and hear what's going on with the MTA, the Muhlenberg Township Authority, come on in. We're 6 o'clock in this building, the first Thursday after the first month.
Thank you, Commissioner Sewell.
I talked enough tonight, I'm good.
You're good. You're good. I'm good. All right, thank you. I appreciate the folks from the dog park. I've been a very, very staunch and safe advocate of that dog park and its success, and I will continue to be, and hope that we can resolve the issues that help everyone be able to have a good place in Muhlenberg to have an unleashed dog park. And there's some work to do. Apparently some stuff has changed COVID, but we'll do everything in our power to make it a success because we believe I believe it's a tremendous asset to our community in that park. So we'll continue to work with our Parks and Rec board and the township staff to make sure we communicate the appropriate policies and make sure that it's designed what it's designed to do for the residents so that the township to be able to enjoy. So I appreciate the comments and we'll continue to work with the appropriate folks to do that. So as Commissioner Alert said, for his ordinance, I do think there's some fine tuning that could be done there for the safety of it. But I just want to ensure that our police are there to protect all of us too, not just, kicking dogs out, I don't know, the authority level and all that stuff, but, we do get a lot. So I just want to ensure that we have all that covered before we go and implement something. So thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. Be careful if thinking of pets to put them inside now. We are under a red advisory, so please be sure if you know anyone elderly or anyone that you can help out, that you check on them and make sure they're okay, because it's gonna be one heck of a week. So that being said, go Phils.